Okay, so we were talking earlier that you have a story.
I guess the one that comes to mind is about how we ended up having a cheese called Tarentaise Reserve, and it was interesting because when we started making Tarentaise our first year, it was explained to me by the French cheesemaker that was teaching me, this cheese should be good to sell at about 6 months of age. And so we started making in May, and later that year, I took some young Tarentaise, what we would now consider quite young, out there to some cheesemongers for them to taste and see what they thought. And they all responded saying, yeah, this is pretty good. I think it needs a little more age. And so I could understand that, but I needed to try anyway. So we held off really putting much effort into sales. But in the back of my mind, I had an idea that not only did I want to see that cheese get aged out to a year, but I wanted to taste it at 2 years or older. And the reason I was thinking of that was partly because I had some history doing some direct importation of Parmigiano Reggiano. So there's a cheese that can't be called that unless it's 18 months. And typically I was bringing in 3 year. So I really had a taste for that, deep, intense flavor that you get with a lot of proteolysis and age. But then when I was working with John Putnam at Thistle Hill Farm, who helped us get started at Springbrook along with the French cheesemaker, I had tasted some cheese he had, which was about 2 years old, and it completely blew me away. It was so delicious and fantastic. So I always had this in the back of my mind. And so I quietly salted away a few wheels of cheese from our first make, the first one we ever did, which is, I believe, 5/23/08, and just kept it, and didn't say much about it, and we just washed it and let it go along its way. And years later, Alex, our French friend, would come back once a year to taste our cheese and help us out with any technical problems. So he would always take some cheese back with him to France, and he was very proud of what we were doing. And again, he'd always kind of lectured me about the age of the cheese. And in general, the French kind of like the younger cheeses, and they have a more delicate, sensitive palate. They're just that in general, French people can enjoy a very mild cheese. And maybe that's a bad generalization, but anyway, that's the way Alex was. And so we got around after this is 3 years into it, got around to him deciding what he was going to fit into his bag to take back. And I said, well, Alex, you've tasted everything we've got. You tried this new Redding, you tried this Tarentaise, you got the extra aged. And he stood there and he thought for a long time, I think I want to take the old stuff back. And that was like the biggest win for me, that this thing that shouldn't have happened, 3-year-old Tarentaise. And he said, look, the thing about this is it shouldn't have happened. It was amazing. And typically you would expect a cheese to completely fall apart after 3 years. It wouldn't have structure, it wouldn't have good flavor, it'd have all kinds of extreme things going on with it, but this balance is still there. It's still holding together, and it's amazing. So that was a huge, testament. And what he said is, this is a huge testament to the quality of the milk that you're using. And I hold with that. And I always say, yeah, cheesemakers are great. If you make a big award-winning cheese, congratulations, you didn't mess the milk up. But to really go over the top with cheese, the milk's got to be phenomenal. So we have great milk, and then we got away with aging this cheese out 3 years, and then we scaled back. We do make a little bit of Tarentaise Reserve. It's a huge money loser.
Yeah.
You can't keep cheese for 2 years and make money. Not with our space.
Yeah.
Anyway, That was a fun thing for me.
Love
And,
that story.
Yeah, and I think that we created Reserve. That was not conceptualized by anyone else but us at the farm, working with our cheese and messing around with it, letting it age out longer. So I consider that kind of one of our innovations. It's typically not done in France with that type of cheese. So
Cool.
yeah.
Again,
All right.
thank you very much, Jeremy.
Thanks, Michael.
All right.